I know. Oh yeah.
I know this one.
It's just a wedding podcast.
This episode is brought to you by Sound Precision Entertainment and Cufflink Media, Cleveland's best DJ, photo, and video team. When it comes to your big day, why juggle multiple vendors when you can have one amazing team? We're going to save you time, money, and stress because we're better together. From packed dance floors to photos and cinematic video, we've got you covered from I Do to The Last Dance. Book your wedding dream team today at spedj.com and cufflinkmedia.com. Find the links in the description below.
We're back.
What's going on, everybody? We are back with another episode of the It's Just a Wedding podcast.
Say it.
It's just a wedding.
It's just a wedding.
You're supposed to sing it, damn it.
Not yet. My throat.
Her pipes are not ready for the singing.
They're still coughing a little bit.
Should always have pipes on you. Be piped up always.
I got to say, Cleveland, Ohio does not get any better than September, October. Cleveland, Ohio, about 72 degrees and sunny every single day this week. Loving every second of it. Soak it up while we can, people, because winter is right around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't
Be ready.
Like winter.
That was the big takeaway. You're like, I don't like winter.
No, I love fall. Like I'm a spooky girl all the way. Like I love Halloween.
She's a
I love
comfort
it.
hoodie kind of girl. Buys hoodies off Snapchat ads kind of girl.
No, I didn't buy it off Snapchat ads.
Wow. All right, you two. Let's
Or
get it
TikTok
together here,
ads.
you children.
Got from the website.
So today's going to be a fun show. It's going to be a little bit of this and a little bit of that, meaning that we're going to talk about some things that are going to be helpful to the bride and groom. But then I want to also kind of give them some insight as to why some of the things are the way they are. But before we do that, our horror story today is less of a horror story and more of a horror situation that I know that we have all been in, both at this table as well as many of our vendor friends, both in Ohio and even around the country.
You don't know me.
I do know you. Let's talk about what happens when you have a bride and groom who are excited to be getting married, but you have a mother of the bride who is way too hands-on in the planning process to the point to where on the wedding day, bride and mom are in a, not a physical, but close to physical altercation, and bride is in tears. So the time that I'm specifically speaking about is a bride and mom. So the mom, probably in her late 50s, she was super into 70s era disco music. So think Donna Summers, yeah, definitely a little Saturday Night Fever. You're thinking that. Bride was into like some heavy like EDM bangers, which on the scale of being a DJ, even with some remixes and things of that nature, you're basically on, you know, Venus and Mars as far as where people are trying to be. And mom was adamant that like she expected and wanted to hear 70s disco. And then bride was like, fuck you, mom. This is my wedding. I hate that music. We are looking to have all EDM. So this is how every meeting went leading up to this wedding. And then when we got to the wedding, they did not disappoint. So I want to turn it over to you guys before I even give my opinion. So Nick, I know that you've been in situations similar, maybe not quite as hostile. What is your opinion as a DJ and a wedding vendor when you're dealing with a mom who may have wrote the check versus a bride who it's her wedding day? How have you handled situations like that in the past?
Well, I think it's about finding that happy medium, and both parties need to be understanding of each other's wants and needs. To the mom, it's a very special day. To her too. It is the bride's day, so it's obviously a special day. Now, you got to find the happy medium, whether it's like, okay, maybe we'll give the first 30 or 45 minutes dedicated to the mom and her style of music, and then we'll switch it up and go into what the bride wants. But you can't have the bride's mom taking over the entire set. You're not getting married. You already had your wedding. And no 25 to 35-year-old wants to listen to 70s music all night long.
Right.
If you do, you're weird.
Now,
And-
I'm going to push back a little bit, not because I disagree with you, because I agree 100% with you. The problem is, in this situation, there was no being respectful of each other's side. There was no middle ground. It was mom wanted this, and there was no wiggle room. Bride wanted this, and there was no wiggle room. And it put me in the situation where I had to now navigate and figure out exactly how I want to do that. So now answer the question again, knowing that there is zero wiggle room, no conversation, no understanding. What do you do?
Our client's the bride.
That is,
We live to make the bride happy. That's pretty much how it goes.
I would agree with that as well. Before I even give my opinion, Julia, so this particular wedding I'm thinking about, no names please, you were actually the photographer on this wedding. So although it was not music, there was some pretty...
Was that the one that John and I did?
No, this is one that I did. Again, I don't want to give too many details of, but she was the photographer on it. And although different than music, there were also some pretty poignant opinions as it pertains to what time shooters start and where they could go and when. So, talk to me about how you kind of navigated that a little bit.
Really, it was kind of rough, but I kept like putting in my suggestions of like what would work, what wouldn't work. And they did put some of those in there, but some of them they were so like set on certain things where I was just like, I'll just let it be.
Like, for example, that day specifically, we had 2 photographers and 2 videographers. It was myself, my number 2, and then I had Shane with me and Krista because she was our second shooter. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they had like 3.5 or 4 hours of downtime, which is just a silly amount of time that would make absolutely no sense in almost any circumstance. But if I remember correctly, Mom was 100% adamant about this is the way it's going to be and this is the way I want. Is that not kind of the way that went down?
Yeah, and then even like during the like when we took the couples and we went on the party bus, went to locations for photos, even during that, like some of the times I've had the mom come in and try to do, hey, you need a picture here, hey, you need to do this. And then it got into the situation where the bride was like, hey, I hired this photographer.
Sure.
She knows what she's doing. She's here to do her job, like let her do her job. But then when things like that happen, I kind of like step back, let the mom do what she wants, and I'll take the picture. After that, I'll start going in and doing my thing. Because at least then it's not a whole like hitting like butting heads.
Sure.
And things like that. And even I think the whole situation kind of made it so they kind of wanted to end photos early. We didn't do a whole lot of couple photos actually.
So it almost, in some ways, negatively impacted the bride and what her final outcome is going to be, specifically because basically mom and bride just couldn't get on the same page as to what was important, when it was important to do it, and how and why, all that good stuff.
Yeah, and then it goes back to like when you deliver the final deliverables, and then they're like, hey, why don't we have more bridal party photos of just us two, or anything like that. And I'm like, well, we didn't take any more. Like, I tried to like say things about, hey, we have time. They cut the time so short of like bridal party portraits that we got back like 2 hours.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Before anything, like we drove around on the bus for an
I feel
hour
like
doing
over
nothing.
50% of our contract was us spent just standing around because they either were choosing to not do things during the time or they just poorly planned when to bring staff in and have them at the wedding. And, you know, a very similar situation. So, Nick, to kind of, I guess, piggyback on what you started. So my initial plan was, now we knew this was going to be an issue. So John, you know, the way we do things is he meets with all of our clients leading up to the wedding. So we're talking through itinerary details, show flow, the way the day is going to go. So we have a pretty good idea how it's going to go even before we get there. And mom and bride were in heated arguments in our office well before wedding day. So we knew this was going to be a concern. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm a veteran DJ. I can handle this. Like, I'm just going to thread the needle. And that was my idea. It's like, look, I'm going to come in early on, play some family friendly stuff. I've got some remix stuff in the 120, 130 BPM. Throw some oldies on. It'll make bride happy with kind of the higher BPMs. Mom will be happy. And then in my mind, it's like, you know, 8:30 something to 9. We're going to just flip it over and we're just going to go to the bride wants and we'll cruise. And I thought that was going to work. And honestly, I thought I threaded the needle. The first 15, 20 minutes, that's exactly what happened. I had some high BPM songs. People had a good time. Mom seemed happy. Bride was kind of enjoying it. And I would say when it got to about 30 minutes into the reception, bride comes over, looks me square in the eyes, and she's like, look, she's like, I appreciate what you did for my mom. She's like, that shit is done. You know what we're looking for. Go. And I was like, Okay, so I just drop into all the heavy stuff that she's looking for. Within 3 minutes, mom storms over to me, finger in the face, pointing at me, saying how she paid me and she wrote the check and she wants this and she wants that, to the point to where her husband needed to actually kind of like pull her away because it was like being like a little inappropriate. And in that moment, I had to make the decision as to what I was going to do. And ultimately, I did agree with Nick, where I pulled the dad aside. I said, listen, sir, like, I very much appreciate the opportunity. I am doing my very best to, make your wife happy. But at the end of the day, this is your daughter's wedding. And, I'm going to do what I can here. But if I'm going to have to choose, you guys are going to be no choice but to play all 70s music or play what the bride wants. I'm going to play what the bride wants. And the dad just like reluctantly nodded his head. So that was kind of the long but pretty annoying horror story. And it made me think of this one because it was fairly recent, number one. But number two, I've heard other vendors talk about this exact thing. So what I would love to ask any listeners or vendors, like if you have a situation that was like this, where maybe it was mother of the bride, or it could be mother of the groom, or in-laws, sisters, or otherwise, where you had kind of these like horror clients to try to navigate dealing between them and the bride, I would love to hear those stories. I think it would be interesting to see that if you guys agree with what we said, or if ultimately you guys kind of handled it a different way or took a different tack. So that was today's wedding horror story.
I mean, that's just really crazy, because it's like, if I was a parent of a bride or a groom getting married, I wouldn't even want to put that on the bride. Like, hey, you have to listen to music from the 50s all day.
It felt very, very like selfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
like,
sure.
it's your kid. It's your kid's day. You want them to have a good day for them and their day, on their wedding day, to celebrate their love and whatnot. You had your chance.
Right.
Why are you trying to recreate that through your child? Like, that seems very
The term
just
living
wrong.
vicariously.
Well,
And
even to the point,
through your
so
bride.
how about this one? I don't mean to reiterate this, but it just dawned on me. So normally you have first dance with the bride and groom, then you have father-daughter dance, and then typically mother-groom dance. This wedding, the groom was not, I guess he wasn't really close with mom, but the bride's dad, so they danced. It was the bride and groom, the bride and her father, and then the groom was going to dance with the bride's mother and his own mother. And on the itinerary, the mother planned to have her dance with her son-in-law before he danced with his own mother.
Brutal.
And the brother of the groom came up to me and he saw that. He was like, that is absolutely not happening. Like, my mom is going first, and then if she wants to do that, that's fine. So it went as far as to, she wanted to dance with her son-in-law.
So did the bride's mom, the MOB, come up to you and be like, hey, why'd you
So,
switch your
I mean,
after?
I just announced it live, so she really didn't have like a choice but to go with it. I don't remember it like kind of coming back, but like the audacity of that. Like, it's this mother's son, and you're going to jump in and take a dance before his actual mom. Like that, like that's the kind of mother that we were dealing with. It was pretty wild.
There was a wedding where the mom had a dance with her husband.
I do remember that too. Yeah, we're gonna save that for another horror story.
Whoa. That's insane.
We're going to save it.
If you're a mother of a bride and you're watching this at home, if you're a bride watching this with your mother, don't be that mother of the bride. Please don't. And if you are the mother of that bride, change it.
It's gonna
Change it.
definitely put a dent in the bond that you have. I know if I had a parent that was
Mrs.
like
Webb's
that-
going all in. I can't wait for that.
No,
Mr. Webb's going to be going all
no.
in.
I think they're respectful in that way. They'll be fine.
Well, I kind of talked about before how the bride's mom like said many times, like, I'm paying you. It's my check. It's my money. So speaking of money, one of the things that I wanted to get into today is, I guess, like what we're coining the dirty little secret of the wedding industry. Dun, 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 dun. So the idea here is a lot of brides ask us, like, well, why is it that if I call you and say, hey, we're having a birthday party, the number that you're going to get is going to be so much different than if I call you and say I'm having a wedding? Or if I call and say, hey, I'd like to buy a birthday cake for my brother's 21st birthday versus, hey, I'd like to buy the same size cake for a wedding. And people are really using this term, and they're asking if it's true. And the term is called the wedding tax. And people are saying, am I paying more for said services because it's specifically a wedding? So I wanted to kind of start off by saying
Interesting.
The answer to that question is
yes.
yes, you absolutely are. That, as far as I'm concerned, that's not a dirty little secret whatsoever. But I do want to kind of delve into why that is a little bit. So the first half is going to be like what companies do, like the kind of dirty little secrets to kind of, you know, try to grab those extra dollars because it's a wedding. And then the second half of the conversation today is going to be like, hey, I do want to show you like what our costs are and kind of justify as why pricing is kind of what it is. So I feel that's why I said early on the this or that. It's going to be giving you a little bit of stuff to help you through wading through your vendors and how they might be kind of nickel and diming you a bit. But on the back end, do explain why, hey, this is why we're kind of, you know, charging what it is that we're charging.
Has anyone ever went and bought a cake and said it was a birthday cake, but it was for a wedding, or hire a TJ and say it was for a birthday and it was a wedding too? Just to
I mean,
have a lower
we have
price?
had people on multiple occasions, and I mean multiple occasions, come to us and say, hey, we're having an event. We expect it to be similar to a wedding reception. And basically after just asking a few professional questions, you find out really quickly that, oh, so you're having a wedding reception, and they purposely try to leave that out because they're trying to get a price of a non-wedding reception. I don't even blame if a vendor doesn't know how to ask proper probing questions to figure out exactly what is they're agreeing to. If you agreed to DJ or photo or video a wedding without realizing that you agreed to photo or DJ or video a wedding, then as far as I'm concerned, you know, that one is on the vendor itself. But the first one that we're going to talk about is, do couples get brides to pay more by taking advantage of an emotional decision? It's a good question, right? So I'm going to ask it one more time. Do vendors get brides to spend more money because they're taking advantage of a bride who is making an emotional decision? Julia, what say you?
Like, as in, do they? Or, like, should you?
I asked it twice. No, as in, like, do you think that vendors are doing that, A, on purpose, B, not on purpose, or C, because they know they're going to extract more dollars simply because it's an emotional decision?
Honestly, I think it can be all three, depending on how the vendor is. If you have a vendor that's trying to, like, I don't know, I would say, like, more on this sketchier side maybe, and trying to just like trick people into more money, they would probably do like A. If people are more humble and they like understand like situations, they might be B. But I feel like most are probably like an option C, trying to like see what they can do.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably true. Nick, like, you are in sales in many ways as I. What is your initial thoughts? Good, bad, or indifferent?
I don't think it's that cut and dry. I don't. And it can't be that cut and dry because the DJing, performance, and set and everything, equipment, everything that you would have at a birthday party, at a bat mitzvah, whatever, is entirely different from that of a wedding. We're dressed differently. The itinerary is different. The level of production is going to be different. The amount of announcing is going to be different. At a wedding, you're announcing everything. At a birthday party, you're probably only singing happy birthday. So I think there's way more work that goes into it on many different factors that people don't think about. So I think it's probably priced appropriately.
Okay, so I would tend to agree, but like, I'm just going to play like devil's advocate here. So what somebody would say, okay, if I was going to call, you know as well as I do, you use our equipment. If I were to send you out, for the most part, within reason, to do a small corporate event for a municipality, we're going to send you out with the exact same equipment, generally the exact same vehicle, and for the most part, you are going to be doing the exact same job, but likely and certainly probably guaranteed that municipality would likely be paying less money for that exact same setup, the exact same service. So that's kind of the yin to that yang there. Now, what I will say, and I think what we're driving at, and it goes exactly what you were saying, Nick, is that what clients need to understand is that there is a different level of service that is expected.
100%.
And more importantly than even service, at what point does this event no longer exceed the value that you are getting back. So let me kind of explain that. So if I am doing a wedding, okay, and let's just say that I'm going to charge $1,000, okay, and we have to rent our vehicle to get the equipment there. We're going to pay some of our employees $300 or $400. We probably have some cost in music, other miscellaneous stuff. So let's just say for round numbers, we had $400 of hard costs on a $1,000 spend. The easy mathematics there is that, so you would net $600. The problem is the weddings are one of the few industries where the liability can far exceed the value of the contract. So I'm going to explain that. So if we come out and we quote you $1,000 to DJ your wedding, and if we came in as a company and we royally screwed up somebody's wedding, under normal circumstances, if you're a landscaper, well, you're going to get sued for the value of the contract, or maybe you just have to go back and recut their grass or reapply siding. In the weddings, judges have set the precedence where not only you can be awarded the full contract, but now you can be awarded damages. And because weddings are what's considered a once-in-a-lifetime event, those damages can be in the millions of dollars. So what you're asking a vendor to do is take on a tremendous amount of liability to make, in this case, $600. And then that's going to be up to the business owner. Is $600 worth the potential liability that I'm going to take on the back end? And to break it down one step further, this is why a birthday party is less expensive than a wedding, because at the end of the day, if you mess up somebody's birthday party, they might be a little annoyed, they might be a little angry, but if everything goes well, hopefully that person would have many, many more birthdays in the future, and they probably just wouldn't use your services again. If you royally screw up somebody's wedding, there will be people that will take you to court. There will be attorneys involved. You're going to be on the news. Just a level of liability that it cannot be reached by most other services.
No, I think that makes sense, and I think that will make sense to a lot of the viewers at home, especially those who don't quite understand liability aspect. But I really want to echo on my first thought, because you brought up like a municipality, or a good example is me doing the Brooklyn Heights Family Fun Festival. I do it every year. It's an event for the kids. Something like that. I'm not a scratch DJ at that event. I'm not mixing and dropping. I'm not doing super intensive stuff. To be quite honest, it really is just choosing the appropriate music and pressing play. I'm not doing fades and echoes. And in terms of announcing, it's not as much announcement either. So it's like, in terms of that level of service, it's totally different in terms of what is going to be provided at each event, as well as, and even some of these we don't even bring subs. You know what I mean? Like, our equipment sometimes is reduced drastically for the event. So
yeah, I mean, and all that's going to be contingent on what the event is, how many people, indoor, outdoor. So that's always going to be kind of like a fluid situation. So should vendors be more transparent in the way that I just was as to why their price is what it is? Specifically, we're talking weddings here. Or is that just not the couple's business? Here's the price of what we offer. You're welcome to, use our services. And if that doesn't work for you, move on to the next one.
Go ahead, ladies first.
I think honestly it would be good to be open, mainly just so that they understand what all is going into it and why. And it's a big amount of money you're spending on this. So they want to know why and what all it's going towards. And if it's going towards things like that, the way you explained it, it makes sense to them. And they're like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. That means that they're good. They know what they're talking about. They have good equipment. They have all this going on. For people who have a price, and I feel like if a client asks why and they say, no, you don't want to know anything, or they don't want to tell them, I don't know. It seems kind of sketchy.
No, I agree with you, Julia. I think that communication at its finest will always solve all the battles. And if somebody is reluctant about your price and they want to ask you, hey, why are you charging this much? Well, we have A, B, and C. We have, all these things that you need to take into account. I do think it will help ease that conversation with the client, and I think it'll help that person, make a better decision.
Also, it builds trust with that client.
Oh, sure,
and,
sure.
It gets them to respect you more, know them, and then knowing that you're an open book to them, I feel like you have their trust. Part of it, in wedding industry in general is building a bond almost with your client.
Yeah, it definitely builds the trust. I mean, there's been sales deals that I've landed in the past where like, listen, dude, I know you're on the fence, but my cost is a little bit more than half of this. So I'm giving you a deal. This is the best I can do.
Right.
And people are going to be like, all right, man, I appreciate the honesty. Let's do it. You know?
Yeah, sometimes honesty is the best policy. And I mean, you talked about like, you know, being open and honest. A big thing is, guys, to the brides and grooms out there, we are all guilty of it. Nick literally just got a brand new iPad today. Did you read the terms and conditions on your new iPad before you just fired that baby up?
Immediately, no.
Absolutely not. Most people don't. I can't blame you. We're all busy, and legal jargon is not always the best to read. I implore brides and grooms, it is worth taking the extra 10 or 15 minutes to read things through. That is where you're going to find the little hidden language and things of that nature that are going to kind of be in there. So one of the things that I'm going to ask you guys, but I'm going to tell the story first, is what is the most outrageous fee that we've ever seen? So I'm going to tell one where I think it was a reasonable fee that the bride and groom should have known about had they read the contract. And then I'm going to talk about one that I think is an unreasonable fee. So most weddings, particularly when you're the venue, typically gets booked anywhere from 12 to 15 or 16 months out. One thing that no hall could predict is food cost, right? So, you know, food, just like every other product in our country, fluctuates up and down, and usually it's fluctuating up. So many of these hall contracts are going to have that, like, you know, the price you're signing for today is here, and based on A, B, C, and D contingency, there is a chance that food prices may go up by 10, 15, 20%,
right,
whatever that number may be.
Right.
Now, I am not an economist, so I don't know what's fair or what's not, but it's typically listed there. And I can tell you that what I've seen on many occasions now is a bride and groom get to that 2 weeks before their wedding when their final payment is due, and they go in and the hall gives them an invoice for 10, 15, or 20% more than they were expecting. And now all of a sudden it turns into a big fight, and it's got bad blood even going into the big day. And the problem is, whether or not I agree with the amount of money is irrelevant. The problem is, if the hall had it in their contract, they were within the right to do it. And if the answer was that you just didn't read that and or didn't know that, you know, I put that bride on the bride and groom personally.
That's on you. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, you know, that is one that I would say I've seen that can get ridiculous. I mean, I've seen people have to drop appetizers and late night snack because that's how much food costs went up. And if they wanted to keep it remotely what it was, like, they had to get rid of that, which kind of sucks, but I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
Now, a hidden fee that I've seen that I think is ridiculous and not tolerable. So there are several halls now that have a fee in there that they call like a 20% service fee. Now, that's not like a gratuity, because some halls include gratuity, some don't. That's a personal thing. But one of the halls in particular that I'm thinking of, it actually says you are paying 20% on this tab because we are going to pay above industry standard rates to our bartenders, servers, etc., so that we can offer exceptional service to you. Now, they try to put a flowery look on that, but can you imagine if the shoe was on the other foot? If I told a bride, hey, this contract is $1,000, I'm going to charge you $1,200 because you're going to pay more, because I want to pay my DJ more money so that I can make sure that you get the perfect DJ at your wedding. Or if I said to a hall, hey, we're bringing in a photo booth for $500, but I'm going to charge you $600. That's just the service charge to make sure we're getting a guy at your hall that's going to deliver it on time. I mean, they would look at me like I'm fucking crazy.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit.
Like,
sure.
No,
and that is something that a lot of halls are doing. Now, I'm not saying to the brides and grooms that can be negotiated out. Maybe it can, but it is definitely something worth noting, because that business, those are their employees. I don't know why me as a vendor or a bride and groom should have to pay more money so that they can pay their employees. And I think if they want that extra money, find a different way to word it, because I just think that is absolutely absurd.
I mean, very simply,
I
just
think
change your prices.
That's ridiculous.
If it costs $1,000, but I want to charge $1,200 to pay this person X, then just make the base cost of that service $1,200.
Well-
Then you avoid that whole conversation of weird hidden fees.
But it also hits this. Like, you pay that extra money because they want to so-called pay their workers more. You don't know if those workers are going to do great. They could just be like, most of those workers are already getting paid hourly.
Yep.
And like,
or by the show or whatever the case may be.
So like they're already getting money, and then that's extra money. Why don't you just leave it to the bride and groom? If you do a really good job, they will tip you sometimes, usually.
Well, and the problem is, it's one thing to say that, but nobody really knows if that money is getting trickled down to the actual employee.
Right.
I'm sure that even if it does, at least some of that money is going to hit the bottom line of either the owner or the company itself, which is why that I think it's kind of silly. So for reasons like this, guys, when it comes to food costs going up or hidden fees like a 20% service charge built in, or other. I mean, I'll use our industry as an example. Like, we tell every single client that you can start at one point, and I tell people, please don't mistake my kindness for being a bad businessman, meaning that what I can't have a client do is buy our biggest package and sign a contract a year out, and then 6 weeks before their wedding tell me, oh, hey, actually, we're going to go back down and do the first package. And I try to explain to them the reason we can't do that is because we have now put our personnel, our equipment, and our service has been dedicated to your wedding. And for who knows how many weddings, we have passed on other work because we save that stuff for your wedding, which is why we can't go backwards. Now, what we do tell clients is you can always start at the lower price and then add things on, provided those services are available.
Right.
And it has happened before where a week before somebody's wedding, they said, hey, Scott, you told us that if we wanted to add a photo booth on, we could do it for $600. We'd like to do that. And then I look at them and say, well, unfortunately, all of our photo booths are sold out on that date. Is there anything else we could do for you? And I've had clients get really upset. Like, well, no, you said a photo booth would be $600. And I said, a photo booth would be $600 provided it is available. So these are the types of things that make a contract worthwhile to read.
Treat it like a lease. Treat it like you're about to buy a house. Read through all the fine print.
I didn't even read when I bought a house. I did not read anything.
When I was about to sign the lease for my apartment, I read every single word of that.
Lease for sure, because you're not making the rules. But when you buy a house,
I would say treat it like a lease. Definitely read everything.
The last talking point. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Let me one more thing. People need to understand that a fee is associated with just about anything. Nothing in this life is going to be free. Nothing in this country, at least, is going to be free. If you want me to stay an extra 30 minutes and DJ your set, then I'm only getting paid X to be there, and you want me to do an extra 30 minutes, that comes at a fee. Nothing is going to come without a fee, and prices fluctuate, and I think that you need to be mindful that this is just the way it goes.
Yeah.
Cough up the dough.
Yeah.
And I guess the last little discussion that we'll have to kind of put a button on it, because Nick, you alluded to it a little bit last week when we had Kadar on from The Aviator. We talked about certain ethnicities, whether it be the Indian weddings, whether it be Arab cultures, and even some big Italian weddings, and just this whole idea of, in America, just this whole keeping up with the Joneses kind of culture.
Yeah.
I'm just curious to get your guys' opinion. How much does social media, i.e. Pinterest, Instagram, etc., feed into this cycle of spending more, spending on emotion, bigger, better? It's got to be better than the neighbor. It's got to be better than my cousin.
Oh, my God.
How much do you think it feeds into that?
So much.
100%.
Oh, my God, so much. I mean, you just look at society as a whole, take weddings out of it. Pretty much everything that anybody does is to try to impress somebody else for the social media. What do they say? Phone eats first. You sit down at a table and you're taking a picture of your creme brulee that comes out. You're taking a picture of anything because the phone has to eat first.
You're trying to get those picture moments to put on social media to present yourself as someone you're not, to try to look like an influencer, and normally you're pretty much presenting a persona that's not really you.
And I personally know people. I mean, a lot of my friends are getting married now. I know people who will look at wedding photos of one of our other friends and be like, oh my God, she was so beautiful. I love the way her pictures looked. I need to do this. Or look at a celebrity. Taylor Swift is going to lead the game in terms of wedding trends and everything. So the way that Taylor Swift is going to do something, everybody's about to do it just like that. So I think social media 100% plays into the game.
It even plays a part on body image. Like everything in our society nowadays, society plays a huge role in everything we do.
Oh, yeah.
And so I agree with both of you guys, and I think I brought that up expecting that to be your answer. And the moral of the story here, guys, this is just from a wedding vendor perspective that's done it for nearly 2 decades. There's nothing wrong with taking inspo from all of those websites. There's nothing wrong with trying to emulate some of those things in your own way. But honestly, just like anything else in life, be yourself, be who you are. Live within your means, because I promise you, if you take on a bunch of debt on credit cards or any kind of crazy loans, you will be hurting yourself in the long run. You'll be much better to have. The party's going to be a lot of fun with your family and friends, whether you're in the Ritz-Carlton or you're in, a nice family venue down the street. So we would encourage you to, get everything that you want within your means, have a great time. But just because of social media and other things like that, there's no reason to put yourself in a bind. So.
And I'm okay for the most part with Pinterest for like inspiration or photos
Of
and
course
stuff
you
like
are.
that. But just it's good for photo inspiration for a lot of the clients because they don't do photos a whole lot or like.
Shots were fired
that.
there. I hope you know that.
But just like realize if you're a client and you're using Pinterest as a inspo board or looking at photos and you want to do that, it's not going to look exactly like that because you are not that person. I am not the photographer that took that.
Sure.
And we're not going to be at the same location.
So Nick gave me a really great lead in because you brought up Tay. And as you know, I have been on Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift watch, just wedding buzz since this has happened.
There's rumors on the street that you got a picture of like T Swift and Travis like kissing, like tattooed on your like left butt cheek. Is that correct, or
That is
did I hear that incorrectly?
that is not correct.
I don't know. I heard that from credible sources.
Let me tell you something. If I have to, I'll show you my butt cheeks right on this show.
Please
But
don't.
What?
excuse me, you'd be lucky to see these butt cheeks on this
I
show.
don't want to see anybody's on this show.
Never seen mine. Anyways, so now I want to be crystal clear about something. So I am not friends with Taylor Swift, and I am not friends with Travis Kelce, so I have no insider news and anything like that. But I do scour the internet as good as anybody else. So there are some things that are starting to come out, at least rumors to come out, and I thought it'd be fun to kind of hit them. So
Scott's
number
sitting
one,
at the computer with a bag of
Dude,
M&Ms and Diet Coke. Like,
I am just Googling the shit out of T Swift and Kels right now. So the first one is, honestly not a big fan of this, but the rumor on the streets, as Nick would say, is they are planning a private and very low-key ceremony, and they're saying that they don't want it to be a spectacle, and they're inviting only close friends and family, and they definitely want to avoid public spectacles. And this is coming from the source is from people.com.
I believe it, honestly. I mean, to me, that would make the most sense because most celebrities want to just feel normal, right? Normal people want to feel famous, but celebrities want to feel normal. So I could 100% believe that, especially when you're at Taylor Swift's level and you can't even go to the corner store.
Yeah, but when you have
without getting wrecked,
fucking Jeff Bezos getting married on a super yacht and then taking the entire like wedding to like Italy for a couple of days, like that's what you do when you have fuck you money. You don't like get married in like this small little like rotunda.
No, I have respect for it because if they want to be normal and like just have a small wedding.
You're not normal though, boo. Like, come on.
They're famous, but they want to be normal. Like a lot of famous people hate the paparazzi, hate that stuff. They want to try to avoid it, and sometimes they're like, they want to be able to live a normal life sometimes. And I feel like a wedding day is one of those days where you want to live a normal life. You want to feel normal. Just spend the day with you and your significant other. And like with that being said, I understand. I honestly probably think she would do something like that. She's not going to want to invite every single celebrity she knows to her wedding. She wants just family, like really close friends and things like that. I have respect for that because Taylor Swift basically almost knows all those celebrities. They all know her. So if she starts doing a big wedding and has everybody, she would probably have to invite everybody.
Let me tell you something.
I do agree with you, though.
When you're a billionaire, you have the ability, like listen, T Swift, take some advice from your boy Scotty here, all right? Live it up, okay? Hopefully Travis is your one husband. He probably won't be, but he might be.
Wow.
I'm just going to be honest.
Wow.
I'm just going to be honest. I'm being honest. 70% of weddings or whatever end up in divorce.
Wow. You just ruined any chance this SPE is going to have. There
was no chance prior to that comment either.
I think that people still stay together. I think that is there.
You guys want to put some money on the wood? I'd put a little money down. Are we allowed to do that on YouTube?
I bet you there's already a predictions market about that.
We'd have to take a look at
I
that.
think they'll stay together.
I think they
they're
will.
together
All
for
right,
the long
number
run.
2,
believe
also
in
a
love.
huge disappointment for me. I want to be clear. Not happy to hear this rumor. Number 2 is the Rhode Island rumors, the island wedding possibility. Media outlets are buzzing with speculation that the couple might wed next summer in Rhode Island, possibly at Taylor Swift's own property in Watch Hill, known as Holiday House. This is reported by the Boston.com Times. And, boo. Rhode Island? Like, come on. Like,
I think it's meaningful because like it's her house up there on her property.
Listen,
She's a girl. She's like, oh my God.
yeah, I mean, now, is
sentimental, like,
Taylor
if-
Swift from Rhode Island, or is she just have a house up there? I don't know the answer to
I know
that.
she grew up on a Christmas tree farm.
What this fucking what?
That's great.
That doesn't sound true at all.
No, it is.
Get out of
You didn't
here.
know that?
Do you ever hear a song about a Christmas tree?
Yeah, because she grew up on a Christmas tree farm. She literally grew up on. Google it right now.
I'm gonna Google it right now. Continue the
Google it right
conversation.
now.
while I
So,
do this.
okay, if she's not from Rhode Island, obviously we know Kelsey's from Cleveland. I don't dig that at all. Like, again, either go hometown or you got fuck you money. You go to Bora Bora or Tuscany or anywhere in the world. Rhode Island? Like, that's not even in my top 40 states that I would
wanna
want to
know
visit.
why she's from West Reading, Pennsylvania, wherever the fuck that is. She's from PA. But I want to know why they were house shopping for houses in Cleveland, if not to have. I mean, we saw the pictures of the house they were looking at in Cleveland. It's like huge with a lot of land, a lot of space, and very enchanting wood vibes. Like, why would you be buying the house if not to have your own little wedding there, like some Great Gatsby shit? That's what I would do.
I mean, she would have it at her house in Rhode Island, right?
I mean, that's just the rumor, but so
Maybe she
far,
just-
Miss Swift, Mr. Kelsey, you get 2 thumbs down from Scott here.
I think it's fine.
You, I mean, it's called the Holiday House.
Oh, that's where she grew up, the Holiday House? But you said it.
She was born in West Reading, but the Holiday House is I think that's the Christmas tree farm you're talking about.
So it is sentimental to her. So I think that would be good. Like
That
it's
changed my
cute.
mind a little
It's
bit.
cute.
A little bit. But it's not her, like, where she grew up. But, okay, so
it's
is
beautiful.
Yeah.
Okay, well, did you expect
Some-
anything less?
No,
But
some people have. There is a wedding venue in Medina that is a Christmas tree farm.
do you know what it's called?
Yeah, it used to be called. It's called the Treehouse now.
So she's
we
used
played
it
the
for
Treehouse.
4th
It
of July
used to be called,
parties
like,
before. She used it for a lot of her parties. And she, it's a Swift estate, so she has control over security, logistics, and it's essential for a vital, high-profile event.
yeah, so that would be good for a wedding then.
So
I could see it
I
being
will
in
I will
consideration.
not be quite as egregious as I was before. I still think that we could step it up. Number 3, Travis Kelce has already been quoted on both his own podcast, the New Heights podcast, as well as People.com, as saying that wedding planning is going to, and I quote, make him go crazy. So just like all you other normal guys out there, Travis Kelce is already going crazy.
Here's my only thing that I will say to you, Travis Kelce, and I hope you are listening. Watch the No Tux Given episodes. Watch our segment, every episode about the No Tux Given. We will make it a hell of a lot easier for you, Travis. Just listen to your boy, Nick. We'll give you the advice on how to live your life as a groom.
Travis doesn't give a fuck who Nick is. I promise that.
We're from the same city, dog. Trust me. Check it out.
What city is he from?
Cleveland Heights.
Cleveland Heights.
Oh, I didn't know.
You're not from Cleveland Heights.
I'm from Cleveland.
Okay.
I just ran out of
Okay.
breath for the Heights part.
And then this last part I threw in because I thought it was fun. So as you know, the day the news broke, we had a podcast, and I graciously offered up the services of both Sound Precision Entertainment and Cufflink Media. I also
We'll
wanted
do it
to.
for free.
I don't know if that's true.
Why would you not do it for free?
She's a billionaire. She could pay
Doesn't
up.
matter.
As owner of the company, I would not do it for free. Taylor
No,
brought.
but it would
Dumb.
be good to say, like, it'd be something.
The
good.
publicity you
she,
get out of that
she
is
can
worth way
afford
more.
it.
It's not about the
Taylor,
money.
She can afford it.
It's not about the money. I'll do it
Despite
for
the
free, Taylor.
fact that we have made a great offer, it has also been
do.
reported that the rock band Foreigner has already offered to perform at their wedding. So SB now has a little bit of competition. The rock band Foreigner has thrown their hat in the ring
Never
for
heard
that.
of them.
Neither have I.
You guys are just babies. The 80s band Foreigner.
What songs do they play?
Hot blooded.
Oh, I know that song, but I don't know the band. I don't know.
That's the
enough
only
to know
song
the
I think
band.
anybody knows.
It's the only one I know right now.
Exactly.
But so that is going to conclude the segment of the Travis Kelce Taylor Swift Wed Watch.
So are we going to be doing tabs weekly?
I'm going to try to keep, when I see news, we're going to break it. You know what I mean? We're going to break it.
Travis, dude, check out the No Thanksgiving if you haven't already, man. I mean, got a lot of good stuff for you.
Well, I guess speaking of No Tucks Given, Nick, why don't you go ahead and hit him with the new one this week?
In this episode of No Tucks Given, particularly for Travis, we're going to talk about the venue edition, okay? So historically, traditionally, you know, the suite for the bride has been decked out always. You walk in, you got circle mirrors with lights. I don't know what they're called. Makeup mirrors, right?
Vanity mirrors.
Vanity mirrors. You got all
Vanities.
that stuff. It looks like a spa. There's champagne. There's fuzzy slippers. You got cotton balls. You got all kinds of stuff in these women's suites.
Cotton balls.
Yeah, you guys use that stuff. There's all kinds of stuff in these bridal suites for the girls.
Nick is describing like what his imagination of a girl's bathroom
Cotton
is
balls
right
are
now.
made for like nail stuff usually.
You mean
like
cotton
the
balls,
Q-tips or like
makeup
the
wipes,
pads,
fuzzy
cotton pads?
slippers. I mean, it's a spa, is what I'm saying. It's a spa in these. I've never been in. You're a photographer. What's it like inside of a woman's suite day of wedding?
It's honestly really elegant. It's like it looks like a high class, like what you would see in a salon, but like not looking like a salon, but like more like elegant.
Really elegant, high class salon. She's speechless right now.
Do you know what the groom room looks like? There usually isn't one.
It looks
There
like
usually
it
is
looks
not
like
one, and if there is, it's just a tiny like closet.
Yeah,
almost.
it's super
Just, like,
sad.
a little
And that's
area
why-
where a couch and a chair. is.
and that is why we're having this segment right now, because my guys deserve better. Okay, we need to step it up a little bit.
What are we thinking? We're thinking what? Pinball machines?
At the very, very minimum, a guy needs to have a TV. We need to have a little refrigerator, maybe stocked with some beers or something.
Game system.
Maybe a game system. It depends on the guy. But I like the pinball idea. Maybe a pool table.
Have you seen?
Air
Do you remember
hockey.
bubble hockey, where you had the little guys in there and the big like
Yeah.
dude? Bubble hockey would be awesome.
Dude, something.
Air hockey, ping pong.
They're basically shoving my guys in a closet, providing their own beer. I've helped grooms sneak in beer with our speaker cases because they get nothing in there.
Or they don't even have.
And
a
these
groom
women,
suite.
no offense to the women, are
to all of our
living-
venues, I do not condone the acts of Nicholas O'Connor sneaking in beers in
That
any
was
speaker cases.
that was I was speaking metaphorically. It didn't actually happen. But the point of the thing is that the girls are living in luxury, which is fine. The women should, but the guys cannot be forgotten and shoved into a closet.
Mm-hmm.
So, what else are you thinking we could throw in there for the grooms that we could help to elevate their day of experience?
Have their own bathroom in there too.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you
Sometimes
like
the
some
girls get their own
basic stuff,
bathroom.
things that bother me all the time. You could easily put a steamer in there. These guys get them from the tuck shop typically. They're all pressed and nice. What do? They throw them in their back seat. They're all wrinkled up. They end up looking like a schmuck at the wedding. Throw a steamer in there. You know what I mean? I agree. TV, if it's time of year.
Put the game on, you know?
Put the game on. You know what I mean? Have an air hockey table. I like the idea of pool. Foosball is always a ton of fun. Honestly, a shoe cleaner, like those ones where you like the little motor on them, little shoe cleaner
Maybe, like, a
action.
coffee
Like,
pot,
How about something simple like
food, snacks?
lay 6-7 cigars out?
Ooh.
Throw a bottle of Jim Beam in there. I mean, it's a Jack Daniels, a little bottle of Makers
What if
in
they
there.
had like a mini bar?
Exactly.
That would be pretty cool.
Put a complimentary bottle of Makers in there. You got the vendor's license. You get that shit for cheap, $20 to $25 a bottle. The groom's going to be happy.
she just got all worked up about
Isn't
something.
there a venue that does actually have really cool?
So
Groom suite?
Nick and I recently played a venue over in, I think it was in Lakewood, 78th Street Studios. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't necessarily like the guy's place, but it was fucking cool. They had a room that I would say is probably like 40 by 40, so pretty good sized room. Pinball machines, old school Pac-Man
Where I
machines.
destroyed you in NBA Jam.
He had a last minute buzzer beater 3 to beat me in NBA Jam.
I had Larry Bird, and that guy's unstoppable.
Yeah, it wasn't even
no,
fair.
it was Steve Nash. That's who I had.
Yeah, it was not fair. I was rolling out with Patrick Ewing. I think it was not great.
So to wrap up this segment here, venues, I need you guys to take note because the guys are important. There's very little things that you could do to elevate that experience and make it seem a lot more. And on the No Thanksgiving, we care about the guys. So venues, step it up. Otherwise, they will be calling me, and I'll pull up my No Tux-Given attire, and I will raise hell.
That's another episode of the No Tux-Given there.
Hey, every episode, Travis, come check your boys out, man.
So I guess the last thing that I thought would be good to talk about. So we talked about on the front end this idea of, wedding purveyors putting in hidden costs, small print in the contract, this idea of upselling or selling on emotion or a wedding tax. And then we talked about some of the reasons as to why that wedding vendors, have to do that to an extent, things like liability, legal and otherwise. One of the things I thought would be just a nice thing for us to do to kind of give brides and grooms an idea. So this is not going to be true of every company because we happen to be a larger company. We have full-time employees. We've got a building. We got brick and mortar here. We've got a ton of equipment. But I think if the client understood kind of like what our costs are and our cost structure, in some ways that would help them not only justify to themselves, but maybe to people who are helping them, pay, i.e. mom and dad, grandparents, etc. So the first thing that, you need to consider as a business when you're hiring a larger multi-op is the fact that we do have full-time employees. So obviously, whatever the salaries of those individual people are is certainly one of the costs that you have to look at. In addition to that, when you have a full-time employee, the business owner has to pay into things like workers' compensation. He has to pay into Social Security, things of that nature. Some companies offer 401ks. They have health insurance, all that kind of stuff. Not a lot of wedding companies, but there are companies that obviously do that. Those are all costs that people have to think about up front. Then you have, where is your place of business? So you have your office. So where you physically work, where do your employees work? In our case, we have a ton, and I mean a ton of gear. Where do you keep your gear? So we have over 4,000 square feet, 1,500 square foot of office, another 1,000 square foot of, photo, video, studio, podcast space, and about, 2,000 square feet of warehouse space. So you're paying for that kind of stuff.
Utilities.
Utilities. I mean, when you're on a building that's, think about what you're paying at your home, probably double or in some cases triple that. And that's what you're looking at for the utilities of that building. So the big thing for me is going through a couple of hard costs. So I hit some of them. So most of our professional sound systems, I would say if you look at the speakers, the mixer, the computer, the cabling, facades, TV, anything that goes into that, you're typically probably looking at anywhere between $10,000 to $30,000 of gear. The bigger companies are going to be much closer to that higher end $30,000. A company like us, we have the ability to roll out 6, 7, 8 of those in an evening. There's a lot of hard costs in that. And it's not a one-time cost where you buy all this stuff, you spend $300,000, and you're just good forever. Like anything else, things break, things need to be replaced, things need to be upgraded, newer technology comes out. It's an ever-going cost. Not only do we have to have the equipment that we use every day, but it's important that we have backup equipment so that if we're at somebody's wedding and a speaker stops working, we have backup speakers, cables, computers, lights, etc. if that were to happen. A big one, Nick, I'll have you kind of speak to it a little bit. So one of the things that we use at SPE is we do not, in many dozen plus years, zero illegal music used here at SPE. And because we didn't start in a record pool, we are actually buying the rights to every single song that we own. So, you just know from individual weddings, but like throughout the course of a year, I mean, how many hundreds of songs just a year at this point are we purchasing? Maybe even in the thousands.
I mean, I think we have 40 to 50,000 songs.
Somewhere in that ballpark. We've got a ton of music on the back end.
We have a lot of songs.
I think last time we checked, our computers will play for something like 13 or 14 straight days without playing the same song. I mean, everything that you can imagine. So you're talking about every time there's a song, whatever that might be, $1.25. Well, that doesn't seem bad when it's one song, one time. And then there's the crazy stuff. So there's a song like Canon in D, a beautiful song for a bride to walk down the aisle to. Well, guess what? We have Canon in D, the violin version. We have Canon in D, the piano version. We have Canon in D, the Celtic bagpipes version. We have Canon in D, the organ version. So now some of these songs, we're buying 4, 5, 6 renditions of that song.
Well, to take it a step further, what about the insurance to insure all of this stuff.
Absolutely. And I was getting to that as well. So when you talk insurance, in our case, we carry a $2 million liability insurance policy. So that helps us with the hauls and other vendors and safety. But we also carry about $1 million of insurance on just our gear alone. So what that basically tells clients is that our insurance company says that, hey, in a circumstance, God forbid, of a mass loss where a fire happened or a tornado hit, they are saying that we'd have roughly $1 million worth of gear that would need to be replaced. Then you have travel. You've got, in our case, renting vehicles. You've got the gas that those vehicles use. I have an $82,000 truck. We have two 12-foot trailers in the back just to move this gear. So, I mean, the reason I'm going through all of the rigmarole here is not to be like, oh, we're so cool, we spend all this money. It's just to kind of give the bride and grooms, hey, this is why you see a DJ who's charging you $800 and we start at $2,000. Well, if they're 19 years old and they don't have a building and they don't have employees and they don't have an office and they don't have insurance, and they don't have backup gear and they have illegal music and they cut every one of those hard costs that we just talked about, this is why you're going to see a difference in pricing. Then those are hard costs. Let's talk soft costs for a second. Years of experience reading crowds and keeping dance floors flowing. MC skills, understanding how to handle intros, transitions, and announcements, pre-wedding prep, meetings, music planning, time, coordination, all of those things. When I have John go through all those itinerary meetings, that's time where he's not just donating that's time he's being paid for. When you guys come in and want to drop off a payment, when you want to go over your itinerary, when you want to send, Julia a Pinterest list of shot ideas, this is all stuff that is time, and this is where some of those costs come from. So Julia, I'm going to have you, and I'll give you some of this here so you can see some of the stuff that I wrote down, but let's do a little bit hard cost photography and even some videography stuff here just to kind of give people an idea of what that side of the business looks like.
Mainly when it comes to that, it's going to be the equipment.
Okay.
The bodies, the camera bodies, all the different lenses you need, light stands, tripods, things like that.
And it's probably
Audio
worth giving them like an idea, right? Like when I say professional, now there are movie grade lenses and cameras that could be in the hundreds of thousands of dollars. But when you're talking about professional grade, like wedding equipment, I mean, you're talking about each individual camera is probably anywhere from $3,500 to $6,000. Lenses, depending on what. What's
for,
that?
Like, the mirrorless.
Oh yeah, in the thousands.
Always in the thousands.
Oh,
it's
for
sure. It's not going to be less than that unless you buy it like really like cheaply used.
Yeah, which we're not obviously going to do. Lenses, depending on how fast the lenses are.
Sometimes they're more expensive than the body.
They can be crazy expensive. Glass is going to be prime lenses with fast glass could be thousands of dollars just for individual lenses, and we need to have tons of them. You are correct. The lights, the stands, the memory cards.
Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, nobody understands how expensive data storage is.
Just the memory cards alone. We've got thousands of dollars into little cards. We have probably, with time and other stuff, tens of thousands of dollars into data storage, like as far as like our RAID system goes. So these are the reasons that, bigger companies are going to look 10, 15, 20% higher than the smaller single op companies. And in my opinion, and obviously take it with a grain of salt because this is what we do for a living, when you really look at how much additional cost that we take on, the difference between where the newer or lesser experienced guy is and where we are, in my opinion, all the value that a company like us can bring will far exceed what that difference in price is going to be.
Yeah. Very good.
I mean, I think that those are some just good food for thought for brides and grooms. Look at the contracts. Don't be swindled, but understand there's a lot of liability and we take on a lot of costs. So there's some method behind the madness there. So
before we wrap up things, there are two additional topics that I'd like to talk about, given we have the time. How are we looking on time, Scooter McGavin?
Yeah, we got about another 5 or 6 minutes here.
That's all I need. So first and foremost, I want to say your boy now has his very own wedding podcast hat. So does Julia. So shout out to Scooter for that. Looks really great on me. He made a good decision putting me in one. Number two is let's talk a little bit about the upcoming collaboration that we have with the Pittsburgh DJ Summit.
Yeah,
that's exciting news, and I think we should give little updates here and there every other episode. So We are excited to announce that we are partnering with the Pittsburgh DJ Summit, which is a DJ summit local to Pittsburgh, given the name. And the creators wanted to have one of these summits that was regionally to our area. So you got guys from like New Jersey, New York, Chicago, in this little area coming to this summit. And the Just a Wedding podcast is going to be collabing with them to offer podcasting services at the event. It's a 3-day event, right? And we're going to be speaking with some very big names. And I just want to put it on your radar that some great content's coming out. We're going to vlog. We're going to live. We're going to, we should have lived this one. We're going to be live in these soon. So if you follow us on TikTok.
I will say that, we won't
Yeah.
mention any names just yet. If you want to do some research on the event, it's definitely worth looking into. There's going to be some really nice names there. But we're going to be talking to some, literally world-class DJs and the best at what they do literally in the world. So we're going to have some killer content coming out. So I know that we're excited about it. We're a proud partner, so it's going to be really cool. You're going to see us on the stuff there. And there's going to be 2 ways that they're going to get content. So not only are we living and shooting our own content, but we're actually going to provide a setup for if others want to come in our off time and they want to create some of their own content or shoot some podcast stuff, we're going to give them the ability to do that.
Which will be very valuable to the brides and listeners at home, because then they can compare their market to other markets. Like, maybe this bride or this trend is happening in New Jersey. Maybe it's something I like and I want to implement into my wedding. And then furthermore, you can compare and contrast like ideologies of other big time DJs across the country to see if we're actually about what we're talking about, or if we're just full of shit,
I guess, the last thing that I'll say, as always, is thank you guys so much for the support.
Yes, of course.
The views, the likes, the shares, the subscribers are all, fantastic.
All the comments,
we
too,
do
I love
see
them.
you. We see the comments. We really appreciate it. We mentioned it in the last couple episodes, but, if you think that you have a service or a product that would be a great fit to be featured on our show, whether you want to come on the show or whether you're looking to be a sponsor of what we do, we are in the process of taking on those relationships as we speak. But as always, thank you guys so much. Could not be more excited to keep doing this for you. That being said, it's just a wedding out.
It's Just a Wedding podcast.